on what might be the least consequential Fed day that we've had in quite some time.
Kind of interesting because I was listening to the commentary earlier on our own Fed special, and there was, I think, one individual who said this could be historic because there's so much coming at the Fed. Another one said this is going to be a snoozer. I do feel like the messaging we got from Fed Chair Jay Powell is, hey, folks, we'll know more, and especially when it comes to tariffs later in the summer, and then we'll have more information to maybe really figure out monetary policy from there.
Yeah, lost track of how many times the Fed chair said, basically, we're in a really good position right now. We like where we are. We're in a good position. We can move if we need to. That's what I heard.
Yeah, and that really raises the question, what's going to be the trigger point, right? When are we going to see any sort of tariff impact actually show up in the data? And what are they going to be weighing at the end of the day? Is it going to be growth or is it going to be inflation? And which one blinks first?
Interesting, though. I mean, they did point out during the press conference that most of the committee members do see a meaningful increase in inflation as we get deeper into the year. But again, to your point, Alex, it's kind of anyone's guess right now as to whether that feed through from the tariffs will actually materialize.
Also, one-off is a one-off, right? Again, that's transitory, and we saw the predicament the Fed got into itself with that. So is it a mistake or is that sound policy?
Torsten Slok was just on the Fed special. He was concerned because he's talking about that stagflationary scenario once again here, and whether that means that the Fed's hands will be tied, and maybe we don't get much of any action at all. Right now, the market, not doing much of any action at all today here, as most of the markets end the day pretty much around the flat line. The Dow Jones Industrial Average losing roughly about 40 points. It takes a while for these numbers to settle, but no matter what happens, it's going to be a decline of less than 0.1% on the day. The S&P 500 only down by 2 points, so we'll call it unchanged on the day. 59.80 and change is your closing number. The Nasdaq higher by about 0.1% on the day, and the Russell 2000 higher by 0.5%.
All right, quick check on the S&P 500. Almost an even split, guys. 236 names to the upside. Alex, we've got 261 names losing ground today, 6 unchanged.
Yeah, you can kind of see that in the IMAP function as well. It's sort of a mishmash of what's up and what's down, but not a lot of movement either way. Energy is the worst performing sector, right? Down 0.6%. Tech, the best performing sector, but only up by about 0.4%. So super calm movement all across the board.
Yeah,
I love mishmash.
Mishmash. It's an official technical term. Did you not know that?
I know it now.
It's mishmash go on the terminal. All right, let's get to some of the individual gainers. Coin, number one gainer in the S&P 500, folks, up.
Whoa.
I know. Yeah. I love it when I can surprise you.
I know. I was paying so close attention to Jay Powell. I'm missing all the real action here.
All right. Well, there was action in Coinbase today, up 16% in today's session. Billionaire Michael Novogratz coming out saying that stablecoin legislation will push traditional financiers toward cryptocurrencies. You also had Coinbase introducing Coinbase Payments, a stablecoin payment stack for commerce platforms. And you might remember yesterday, JP Morgan came out saying it's launching a pilot for a token called JPMD, which represents dollar deposits. It will transfer a fixed amount to Coinbase Global on the public blockchain base. This stock is up about 17% year to date. So I just feel like a lot of momentum around that puppy. Marvell Technology, number one gainer in the NASDAQ 100, folks, up about 7% in today's session. Analysts positive on the chip maker following an event focused on AI. At that event, Marvell raised its overall data center total addressable market to $94 billion by 2028, up from $75 billion. This stock, though, is off more than 30% year to date. And one more for you, GoGo.
GoGo. Wow.
It's not just a dance from the 60s. Up about 15% in today's session. You know, Wi-Fi while we're flying.
Yeah. Has that improved?
That's a great point. Every time I fly, I can never get Wi-Fi anymore. I think it's me.
No,
but
I feel like it definitely has improved.
Oh, wow.
You don't think?
I don't know.
Depends on the airline.
Wow.
That shall remain nameless.
Yeah, we're gonna be good today. Shares soaring though on heavy volume. The company coming out saying it successfully completed its first end-to-end call using its 5G technology. William Blair coming out saying those developments represent a significant milestone for GoGo's 5G network. Stock is up 80% year to date, 30% of the float, though, shorted. So investors kind of watching very closely.
Okay, well, the small moves in the indexes really masked some big moves taking place under the surface. I want to start with Wolfspeed, down 30% today. The chip maker shares plummeting. Bloomberg did report today that it will be taken over by creditors, including Apollo Global Management, under a proposal that would put it into bankruptcy to slash billions of dollars in debt. Shareholders could, though, actually recover as much as 5% in this proposed scenario. This is as opposed to what typically happens during a situation such as this, where they are wiped out completely in a bankruptcy. Uber shares also on the move lower today, and this as a result of some Waymo news.
I'm so excited.
Well, don't get too excited
I'm so
because
excited.
just because Waymos will start to be tested in New York with a human driver, this is what drove shares of Uber lower today, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be seeing these all over and going to be able to take them anytime soon.
Wait, so Carol's into this?
Oh my
Carol loves it. I convinced her
Oh my God.
to get into one of these things. She did it. Where were you, in Arizona?
I did it in
Carol?
Arizona first. It was like evening to the airport, closing my eyes. I'm totally comfortable. I've done several since. Oh, Alex, it's kind of like
Alex,
getting-
I think you're the only one here who hasn't done this.
It almost feels like you get into a spa. There's like this really easy music. The car is immaculate. Wow. There's nobody talking to you.
My face is like,
you're
is
one
like
of those people.
Yeah, you
struck
know-
dumb right now.
You know how Carol feels when, somebody talks to her next to her on the airplane, right?
True story.
No, but
Yeah, good point.
you get into the car and they're like, "Hi, Carol." And you're like, "Hi." Okay, it's pretty cool. Anyway,
All right, Carol
moving
obviously
along.
not concerned about the, robot overlords
Right.
taking over.
So
anytime
this
soon.
is in New York?
Yeah, this is in New York.
Oh,
This is
okay.
where they're going to be testing it out, but
Yeah.
only with a human driver
Anyone hold it?
behind the wheel. So with the
And
human
I
driver.
assume what, like in Midtown or where is this
I
going?
don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. It's a good
I think there
question.
are a
It's
lot
gonna
of
be tough.
challenges
Yeah.
to this service happening like it happens in San Francisco, just due to the congestion in New York. And there aren't necessarily places to pull over, legal places to
I
pull over.
hate
Like,
to break it to San Francisco. You ain't got nothing on New York.
yeah, when it comes to congestion, it's like
Driving in
easy,
New York is a
easy
skill set.
peasy there. All right, Waymo shares, or excuse me, Uber shares down 1.6% today. Let's move on to some payments companies. MasterCard fell by 5.4%, but Visa is what I want to highlight, down 4.9%. Both of these companies fell over worries about the impact of stablecoins on credit card issuers. Remember, we saw this on Friday after that Wall Street Journal report that said that Amazon and Walmart were interested in stablecoins. We did hear David Sachs today telling Bloomberg TV that stablecoin legislation would cause the asset class to grow and create demand for the U.S. dollar.
I have an honorable mention. I'm going to pull
Yeah.
Romaine on you. Walmart, now in its longest losing streak since 2004.
Wow.
What's
Take a
going on?
moment. I mean, to be fair, it was on a huge winning streak, so take that with a grain of salt. Bond market, look at that. Nothing. Absolutely no movement there. You're looking at the 2-year below that 4% level. You're looking at the 10-year around 4.38%. There was a breaking headline about a few minutes ago saying that foreign treasuries holdings held near a record high in April. That was quite interesting. They dipped to about $36 billion to $9 trillion, but yet foreign holdings are still sticky for treasuries. So that was, of course, a big risk and a big worry for the long end of the market. So far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good, because at least for right now, where else are you going to go, right? We should also point out another headline on money markets still holding at that 7 trillion level here. And it gets to a big question as to sort of what the next catalyst is for this market. With the Fed doing nothing, we're probably not going to get anything out of them until we get to the fall. I know we have an earnings season coming up, but this really puts the eyes back on geopolitics, back on the situation in the Middle East, and of course back in the situation in Congress with regards to that budget bill.
Yeah, absolutely. Check. I think you hit all of them. I was just looking again at JP Morgan when they report earnings, and it's July 15th. So I feel like that's going to be a big one in terms of what kind of outlook.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that far away, right?
Yeah.
But I do think
my
the next.
birthday's shortly after that.
Is it? When's your birthday?
Yeah, so just mark it.
When
What
is
kind
it?
of cake do you like so that we forget to get
sounds
you
saying.
one?
No, I'm healthy. No
Terrible.
I'm just kidding.
Just carrots and hummus.
Yep, that's my lunch. You're doing gummy bears. A gummy bear cake. That's what's coming.
Thank God for the food court,
Has anyone
man.
thought of that?
We're also going to hear from Powell next week. He's testifying, so
Yes.
maybe we'll hear more there. But given what we heard today, I'm not optimistic that we'll get any more details. I'm still waiting. I guess what I'm curious about is where he's seeing strength in the labor market. I guess it has to do with the unemployment rate and what we're seeing with non-farm payrolls. He was asked a lot of questions about the labor market with specifics to the ICE raids that I thought were really interesting in immigration, but he said it's not Fed policy to comment on these things.
Yeah.
To be fair, there is a gummy bear cake, but the gummy bears are on the outside of the cake.
See, I'm trying to
Okay, how did you get them on
trying
the
to keep us
inside of
on
the cake?
task here.
Well, you
Come
can do a
on.
hole in it and then
This
put
is
the gummy bears in it.
this is the technological
I can make it for
innovation
you.
we really need.
I don't
You're
think
talking
this is what
about
our
David
producer meant.
Sachs and
Yeah.
Coinbase and Circle and all that. Come on, man, gummy bear cakes.
I can
that
make
would
this
move.
for you.
That
I
would
can
move.
totally make this for you.
No.
Would bring peace to the world.
That just seems so wrong.
You better get those while you can before all the dyes are not
It is
allowed
right.
anymore.
I forgot. Yeah.
There are a
RFK
couple
trying
other
to ruin our
companies.
fun.
Again,
Just
bringing
can't
this
drink
back to
Kool-Aid
news.
anymore or anything.
A couple
Fun
large
dip.
companies
Remember
out
Fun Dip?
this week saying they're not going to be using these dyes anymore at the end
Tim
of next
doesn't
year.
remember.
This alone
he's too young.
says it was not an important Fed meeting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This conversation says it all. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Were we supposed to be talking about the Fed?
Exactly.
All right,
guys.
we got to go, Carol.
We do. I'm trying.
Sure thing.
All right, that's a wrap. Across platform, radio, TV, YouTube, Bloomberg Originals, folks. Romaine and Alix continuing out there on television, and Tim and I right here on Bloomberg Business Week Daily. We'll see you again, same time. Not really same place tomorrow, but on Friday we will see you. All right, take care, everybody.